I'm surprised, man. We had the fire chiefs conference over there, but
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Bradenton City Council meeting Wednesday, January 14th, 2026 at 8:30 a.m. in City Hall Council Chambers. As always, and obviously starting out the new year for our first meeting, we will have our wonderful Pastor Don Steriano with Kingdom Life Christian Church and our pledge after that. But first off, we just want to say thank you for God and everything that we've been doing over the years, and especially for the last 3 months with Pastor Don, and welcome.
Thank you very much. Really good to see everyone for this invocation. Would you bow your heads, please? Thank you, Heavenly Father, that this friendly city is a godly city. I thank you, Father, for your presence that's here, and we welcome you. I pray for our city leaders, first responders, department heads, all Bradenton employees, and every citizen that's here. Bless them and keep them and cause your face to shine upon them. Bless every front of their lives, their health, family, possessions, finances, and most of all, their spiritual life in you, Christ Jesus. I pray for this city to have citywide revival and reformation, turning their hearts towards Jesus, reflecting your heart, Father, your will, character, and your kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. And I pray this all in the holy name of Jesus. And everyone said amen.
Amen. Then we would ask our Fair Director, Danny Alfonso, and Fair Board Member, Bob Gauze, and other Fair Board members to lead us in our pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Once again, welcome everybody, and we'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk.
The first item on the agenda this morning is 4A, celebrating the Manatee County Fair.
Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's going to be a beautiful week.
Yes, sir, it is. Yes,
I know.
sir.
I heard yesterday that you can't really plan the weather,
No,
but
yes, sir.
I didn't hear Mayor West in Palmetto saying that he's going to keep the rain away, but I'll do that for you from Bradenton. We'll keep the rain away. I can't do much, but the rain will stay away.
We have Mr. Parks, one of our longest serving directors at the fair, and we also have Mr. Bob Gauze. Mr. Parks is 38 years as a board.
Sometime.
It's been a long time. I think I was in three-corner britches last time before he was on the board. But we just want to thank you all for allowing us to come speak about what we truly love, our annual homecoming. We call it the Manatee County Fair, but it is truly an annual homecoming. And this year we'll be celebrating our 110th anniversary. And our theme this year is celebrating America's 250th anniversary. So the kids have already done a great job with the hay bale decorating. You're going to see there's going to be flags all over the fairgrounds, and we're really looking forward to it. Our fair is only possible through the efforts of our directors, hundreds of volunteers, as well as the financial support of our sponsors. We have 11 different committees that actually work together to put on our fair. It's really neat when you see all the pieces come together, and it makes a beautiful motif. It's really good. We'd like to thank the Manatee County Sheriff's Department, the Manatee County EMS, and the City of Palmetto for all their support for helping us plan a safe fair. I visit a lot of fairs throughout the state, and we have one of the safest, but everywhere you look, we have sheriff officers, and it's not because it's an unsafe environment. We are safe because they are there, and it's just really encouraging that the support that we receive from them. We're extremely thankful for the sponsors who've contributed this year, whether it's been through monetary gifts, their time, materials. This year we have 23 gold sponsors, we have 19 silver sponsors, and 18 bronze level sponsors, which is the most we've ever had, and that includes our in-kind sponsors as well. We also have 50 youth livestock sponsors that have supported our youth livestock programs, and we're down to a day away from the fair. We have 2 events that happen just prior to the fair. The first one is we held our Queen pageant on November 15th, and our Miss Manatee County Fair Queen is Mabry Paris this year. Our Junior Miss is Juliana Wells. Our Little Miss is Kinley Albritton, and our Mini Miss is Lillian Darlington, and they've done a great job representing us. They're in school today, or I would have brought them. We've had them excused several times already, so we're sorry we didn't bring them with us.
So we'll have to go to the fair and see them.
Yes, they will be there at the fair.
And your fair queen is a lovely redhead.
Yeah, she is a lovely redhead. Miss Marianne, how would you have noticed that?
I noticed that right off.
Our distinguished citizen was awarded last week at last week's VIP, and this year we're pleased to announce it's Miss Norma Kennedy. She's our distinguished citizen this year. Miss Norma is well known for dedicated volunteerism, and she's the current and past president of the Parish Civic Association and a member of the Manatee County Tourist Development Board, where she represents the entire county. And we're thankful to be able to award her that this year. Our mission statement, the Manatee River Fair Association, our mission statement is to promote the agricultural and economic strengths of the Manatee County, and to highlight our rich heritage through the sponsorship of the annual fair. And we're extremely proud to be able to continue that endeavor, as we have one of the largest youth livestock programs in the state of Florida. This year we have 530 4-H and FFA youth registered to show livestock. They'll be showing 779 animals, 233 plants that they've been raising specifically for this year's fair. We actually started, because of the amount of room and the amount of animals that we have now, we had to actually start our beef breeding show before the fair. So our beef heifers came in Monday and Tuesday. They showed last night. They left last night, and we have the steers loading in today. We'd like to invite everybody to come out and support our youth. Every night at 6 o'clock, we'll have a livestock show either in Mosaic Arena or Cook and Powell buildings. We also want to let everybody know the steer sale will be on January 17th, which is the first Friday. We'll also have the plant sale after that. If you're coming on the 17th, please plan to be there early. That is Martin Luther King Jr. Day and the parade's going on, so it kind of gets a little backed up and crazy in Palmetto that day. So just plan to get there a little early. The swine sale will be on January 24th, and just come out and support our kids that have worked so hard. In addition to our youth livestock shows, we have a great entertainment lineup, and we want to make sure that everyone knows opening day tomorrow is free day at the fair. Free for everyone to come to the fair. We're also going to have our Veterans Tribute that night, and we're just asking everybody to bring a canned good because we are doing a food drive for the Manatee County Food Bank. So everybody come out tomorrow night. I was actually on a Zoom meeting with Dennis Phillips last night. He said he projected the weather's going to be done in the morning, and it'll be nice and cool in the evening. Not cold, cool. And then Friday morning, it's going to be pretty cold, but we don't open till 5 on Friday, so it'll warm up nicely. And our opening day, our free day, that's sponsored by Farm Fresh, Detweiler's Farm Fresh Market, as well as Palmetto Build.
And we're finally getting a Detweilers in the city of Bradenton, so.
Awesome. They're a great family, and they really
Support the community,
support
unbelievable.
the community, and not just the fair. I mean, everywhere you look, they're supporting our community. Saturday, we have our baby pageant on the main stage. That's something to see. That starts at noon. We have four age groups. If you haven't ever been there to see that, it's pretty exciting. They get parents get pretty supportive. Let's put it that way. Passionate. That's a great word. And then that evening we'll have Eric Vaughn, our local talented band. Eric Vaughn, he'll be performing on the stage 2 concerts. Sunday we have contemporary Christian artists Caleb and John. They'll be opening Bayside Worship will be opening for them. So we'll have basically 2 concerts, one at 6:30 and then one at 7:45. On Monday is Students Free Day. That's the 19th. It's Students Free Day, and that's thank you to Westra Construction and I'm sorry, Woodruff and Sons. Woodruff and Sons is our sponsor for that free day. But we're also going to have an open county dance showcase where different dance troupes will be on the main stage performing. Then on Tuesday, we also have it's Battle of the Beats. That's our drumline competition for all the schools. We have four junior high and 4 high school bands that'll be competing in the drumline competition. And then on Senior Day, January 21st, we have First Baptist Church of Palmetto, their Joyful Sound Choir. They'll be performing at 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock. And then we'll have Magic Man TJ Hill. He'll be on the stage periodically throughout the week as well. To see a daily lineup of entertainment, if you go to our website, manateecountyfair.com, everything is in there. You can look at it's broken down hourly if you just click on the schedule tab. We have Cowboy Circus, Jurassic Kingdom Dinosaur Show, Les McDowell's Cowboy Camp and Poetry, Universal Championship Wrestling, Mobile Arts Glass Blowing Demonstrations, Puppy Pals Live, the Barnyard Cackle Review, the Turnaround Petting Zoo, the Dakin Dairy Live Milking Parlor. That's where we want everybody to come see where their milk actually comes from. It's not from Detweiler's or Publix. It comes directly from a cow. So and they'll teach you how to milk a cow there. We also have, like I said, Magic Man TJ Hill. We have Fritzy's Brothers One Man Circus, Len the Mime, Pirate Man Dan with his traveling pirate ship, and we have something new there this year. It's called Turbo Tractor. It's a tractor that'll be going around interacting with the crowd. He talks to the crowd. It's really neat. Our Arts and Crafts Department, they received 1,388 entries from 496 talented Manatee County artisans. Our Manatee County 4-H Extension Office also received 364 arts and crafts entries from 73 youth exhibitors, and as well as our school art display. That'll all be in our Arts and Crafts building, and our Arts and Crafts building is sponsored this year by Verkaman Construction. We also have talked about the hay bale decorating contest. We have the baby pageant, Sunrise Kiwanis corn dog eating contest, our annual charity barbecue contest, hog calling contest, whip popping contest, and then last but not least, we have the Peachy's donut eating contest. And that's the sight to see. 5 o'clock that afternoon, we'll have the Manatee County Sheriff's Office department. Their guys will be taking on the fire department. We have North River Cedar Hammock. They put together a team, and that's a very passionate, like as you said, Mr. Gene. Mr. Rick don't like to lose, and he is there cheering them on. So it's a great time.
I don't think 2 years ago when they lost, I don't know if those sheriff's deputies are still employed at the sheriff's office after they lost.
I think they may have
But
been.
the fire department brought in a ringer
Yes. Yeah.
for the 1 year, so.
And I think Rick hired him.
Yeah, yeah.
He's now.
I was there
Sheriff.
when they lost, and I mean, I don't, he didn't have any words, and that's unusual for our sheriff.
Oh, he had plenty of words when they got back over to their
I know.
their compound there.
Yep.
We also have straight shows again this year. We're hoping to continue to build on the long-lasting relationship with them. They're a great family. This is actually going to be their 103rd year in the industry. They're one of the longest-standing families in the carnival industry, and they are very good to work with. They're great people, honest. Anything we ask for, they're doing a very good job for us, and we're exciting that they provide a unique, safe experience for our guests. And then last but not least, we have lots of food, plenty of food, any kind of food you can think of, we will have there. To see a list of everything that I talked about today, just go to our website, ManateeCountyFair.com, and we just wanted to let everybody know, with the cost of everything rising, we have not increased our cost to get in the gate. It's still $10 to get in for adults, $6 for children, and $6 for active military duty. And in closing, we just invite everybody to come out and join us January 15th and help us in celebrating America's 250th anniversary. And thank you again for allowing us to come.
Thank you. Any comments or questions, Ms. Barnaby? You look like,
Well, no, I think everybody knows my husband is also on the fair board. I would prefer if you would keep him away from the Peachy's Donuts booth, but, you're just mere mortal, so I'm not sure that's going to happen. We're also the sponsors of the quilting contest,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
we're very happy to do that, and I believe the theme for it is childhood memories.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
So that is a kind of a broad-based theme. We didn't do color, we didn't do a specific thing, and so please go by into the arts and crafts people work very, very hard, and they get a lot of entries. So when you're at the fair and you need to take a break from the midway, maybe you rode one too many of the rides that swirl you around, come on into the Arts and Crafts Festival and see what they're doing. I think they also have the cookies for sale if you need to get a couple of chocolate chip cookies with a little bit of milk. They also have those there.
And you also sponsor our new youth livestock exhibitors. The
Oh.
Barnabys are very generous. Okay, well,
No. I mean, look, my husband works really hard, and he can spend the money the way he wants to, so.
Mr. Barnaby wants to encourage new kids to come in, so they're helping them with their seed money. It's a set amount, but for every new youth livestock exhibitor that is showing a swine or steer, because the costs are so expensive, feeding one out probably costs close to, my son hasn't done it, and he's been out for 10 years now, out of school for 10 years, but the costs have just gone up for feed now. Well, Mr. Parks could probably tell us on, but it costs it's probably about $1,200 on the conservative side just to feed one out. That's not what it costs to buy the animal, and we do want to thank Miss Marianne and Mr. Mark for encouraging our kids, giving them a little help there.
Happy to.
thank you. Anybody else, Ms. Coker?
I just want to thank you. I know putting on an event, it takes a lot of hours and a lot of dedication, time, talent, and treasure. And I just warms my heart to see that nod to the past, but also you're looking forward by trying to keep a lot of this alive and instill it into the next generation. So thank you all for your efforts. It really means a lot to us.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. That's, like I said, that's our mission statement, is to keep it alive and talk about our rich heritage. Yes, development is here, but like I said, with the amount of students that are actually continuing to show, and now our smaller animals, our rabbit and poultry, those animals are they have increased quite a bit. But we still have 78 steers and 158 swine, that's a lot. when you consider for our county.
Well, I think one of the things that I see when you show the sponsor list, it's still the old family businesses and that have been in the community for so long that continue to see the value, no matter how a community changes. And even though in the 70s we were the 15th largest county in the state, and today we're still the 15th largest county in the state. So things haven't changed that much when you look at overall that, but when you look at the community support, that's what we see. And, you know, I mean, we like all the people that have moved in, but we also like our long-term 50-plus year businesses, and then obviously the board members that are still there. And Norma, I serve on the TDC board with Norma, and she doesn't say much, but when she says something, it carries a big stick. So what she's done for not only the parish community, but for Manatee County is a great honor that you guys gave to her and did that. So, because, you know, it's a lifelong honor sometimes, and you want people to be there, and she was shocked. So that was a great thing to see, and congratulations on that. And obviously what do the Queen and that get? Obviously, you said yesterday at the Kiwanis that the benefit for that is.
Yes, our Miss Manatee, Miss Mabry Parish, she will get a $1,500 scholarship to the school that she chooses to go to next year. And then the junior Miss, of course, the mini Miss and the little Miss, they get
Swag.
They get swag. They get to be part. They are part of our promotion team, and so it gives them an opportunity to get out in the crowd and be asked questions about the fair and share what they love, because it's always different with them. And it's really neat to see them go from the first county commission meeting where they're all kind of awkward and don't really know each other. By the end, when we get back to our Queen pageant next year, you see them sitting on each other's laps and helping each other get dressed, and it's like a little sisterhood. And it's neat to see them all, that relationship build throughout the years.
Well, we appreciate what you do, and this will be posted this afternoon, so people will start watching it. So if you're watching, the fair is starting tomorrow.
Free day. Bring a canned good. It's free day tomorrow to get in. And
students on Monday when they don't have school.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, appreciate all you guys do. Thank you for coming.
Thank y'all for having us.
At this time, we'll go to citizen comment. Citizen comment will be accepted during the citizen comment portion of the meeting on any non-agenda item, agenda item, future agenda item, or topic of relevance to the city. Comments will be accepted on public hearings at the appropriate time. So at this time, we have Colton Herman, and you get 3 minutes as a citizen, so if Colton would come forward, you'll have 3 minutes for all of your topics. So, and please state your name and city of residence for the record.
Hi, my name's Colton Herman. I live in Bradenton with my parents.
Welcome.
So, first thing I just want to talk about, I guess, would be there's no parking during school hour signs in our neighborhood. And my dad brought this up with Miss Barnaby, and she never got back to him about it. But basically, we looked it up to see what the reason for these signs was, and it was to quote unquote protect the kids while they were like getting out of school or something. But every day there's parents who line up on this street and pick up their kids anyway. It's not like the signs are doing anything, but all the signs really do is make the residents of this area afraid of getting ticketed. And there was code enforcement coming around our neighborhood like the day before school got out for the winter break, giving people tickets, and we were concerned about that. And it's just like kind of frustrating because, you know, you only have so much parking, and there's like 3 halfway houses on our street, so there's really not enough, when 8 people are living in one house, there's not enough parking just in the driveway or whatever. So, we would love if maybe those signs were taken down or something, or if there were stickers we could have for residents of the area so that we don't get tickets for parking outside of our house. Yeah, and then I just got a job at Sunrise Head Start, and I'll be getting paid $16 an hour. And at $16 an hour with all my expenses, I'd have like an extra $100 a month for things like toothpaste or toilet paper or cleaning supplies or anything luxury. And I think that goes into like the whole affordability crisis. It's way more expensive now than it was back in the day. Like owning a house is out of the question for me at $16 an hour. And so I'll be living with my parents for a while here in Bradenton. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for the 3 minutes.
Thank you. I have no other citizen comment. Is there anyone else in the audience? All right, seeing none, Mrs. Barnaby?
Yes, I did get an email from your father, and I responded to the email. And I have spoken with the police chief about it, and we are looking into the situation. My children went to Manatee High when those signs went up, I believe. If not, it was like right before they got there. One of the problems was at that time, there was not a lot of parking for students on school property. And I think they have tried to alleviate a lot of that issue, because what you had is kids parking on the street, parking on both sides of the street. Some of them were probably not the best citizens in that they would clean their car out if they had had like a McDonald's cup or bag or something, they'd clean their car out and leave it like right there on the street. So we were getting complaints from the neighbors. So that's why the signs originally went up. And I know that Chief Kramer is going to be looking into this and seeing what are the effects of it. Is it working? Is it not working? And I don't mean to speak for you, Chief, but I mean,
Let me say something first before. When I was the council person for that ward, it was more citizen-driven from the neighborhoods than it was the school. So it came up again, and we looked at it at that point, and the citizens in the neighborhoods wanted it because they were losing their parking places during the day. Because if it's open parking on the street one side, anybody can park there unless we put a time limit, and then a time limit would cost the homeowners too. So, Chief Kramer?
No, that's exactly right. Any school with that type of population, that numbers, I think they may have enough school parking now, but we'd have to talk to the administration and make sure that their students were educated if we were to remove those signs.
But if you did take it away.
If we took it away, I promise you, if it was taken away,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have to worry about finding a place to park because there wouldn't be any place to park because it would be taken up by students.
Right. Yeah. So, but there's research going on, and,
Yep.
and
Yeah, I
obviously
just
Ms.
found
Barnaby
out
has
about
the
it today.
email, can forward as the information comes up. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything else from the council before we move on? All right, we'll move on to election of vice mayor and second vice mayor. As we know, each year, and last year was the first year we did a second vice mayor because we ran into problems with the hurricanes and timing of things and that, to have some of the meetings, so that I think it worked out well over this year because we had no hurricanes. So we're going to keep that for next year or two, or this year, I guess. So, Mr. Rudisell, it's basically just someone nominating somebody going forward?
That's right. Anybody can make
Okay.
a nomination. Doesn't have to be seconded. And
Okay.
then once nominations are closed, then the council will vote.
Ms. Barnaby?
yes, thank you. I would like to nominate Jane Coker to be our vice mayor.
Thank you. Very
Okay.
nice. Thank
Is
you.
there any other nominations from the floor? Hearing none. do we have to?
Does someone have to second that?
No, don't have to have a second. So do we, seeing no, do we need to vote still?
Yes. we
Okay.
need a Motion.
So we need a motion, that Ms. Barnaby made a motion for vice mayor for Councilwoman Jane Coker, and we'll move forward on that. So start the vote in Ward 2,
Yes.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5,
Yes.
and 1.
Yes.
So congratulations, Ms. Coker, you are our vice.
Thank you. I'll do my best to keep those hurricanes away.
You. Then, for second vice mayor, is there a motion on the floor?
Don't look at
Anybody?
I nominate our newly appointed councilman, Kemp Schusler.
Schuessler.
Had a cough drop.
Okay, is, anybody else? Hearing none, we'll start the vote in Ward 3.
Yes.
I figured I'd start with you right away. Since you're at 4,
Yes.
5,
Yes.
1,
Yes.
2.
Yes.
All right, so carries 5-0, Ms. Coachman. All right, moving on to appointment of CRA chair and board, or vice chair. Is there a motion,
I would like to,
Coker?
first off, thank everybody for believing in me to be the chair last year. But I would like to move for Kemp Schusler to be the chair of that. Probably should have gone before the second vice mayor, but I think he's, anyhow.
All right, anyone else? Hearing none, we'll start the vote in Ward 4,
Yes.
5,
Yes.
1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3.
Yes.
Carries 5-0. All right, election of vice chair for the CRA. Don't everybody jump at
I'll
once?
nominate at this point, Vice Mayor Lisa Gonzalez Moore for
Okay.
Vice Chair of
All
CRA.
right, any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll start the vote in Ward 5.
Yes.
1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
Yes.
4.
Yes.
Carries 5-0. Thank you very much. That was
Quick.
quick and easy, so I'm gonna get everything
Did you get the
down
number of
here.
those buses?
I don't know about paying myself.
All right. Madam Clerk?
Item 8 is the consent agenda, and staff is requesting approval of items A through T.
All right. Mr. Perry?
Mayor, council, thanks for the opportunity to speak to the consent agenda. I have had the opportunity to communicate with the city council regarding all of the items that are on the consent agenda. I just wanted to draw our attention to the 5 items that are items P through T that are on the consent agenda that are typically associated with the Face It and Fix It campaign of our utility program. And you know, one of the issues that I think that we try to deal with is the public awareness and the public knowing the significance of the investment, the work being done, the money being dedicated, and things like that to our rebuild of our utility system over its aged life. And you know, these 5 projects represent a lot of that work. We have probably well over $100 million now dedicated to utility improvements, and that's a significant amount of funding. The vast majority of that funding does not fall onto the ratepayer for our utilities or the taxpayer in general. It is supplemental funding that we aggressively go out and get from various federal, state, and county funding sources that supplement our programs. When you have an aged system, you run into certain problems associated with it, and our technical staff at Public Works, who's a couple of them out there, have done a great job of putting together a strategic plan on addressing this repair and replacement effort. So these particular projects deal with a variety of things. Under P, you're talking about what do we do to bring about the utility for downtown that's necessary for vertical construction, higher level construction, as well as remodel what's in the ground now, going from an 8-inch water main to a 12-inch water main. It might seem like it's only from 8 to 12, 50% more, but because of the diameter of the piping, the volume, the pressure, and everything else will support a great deal more of modernized types of infrastructure that ultimately will improve quality of life as well as improve tax base revenue that's associated with it. So this basically was related to a capacity analysis we did from the engineering, and now we're moving to the assignment of studying the underground surveys that are necessary to do what's called HDD, directional drilling, so that we don't have to tear up roads in downtown like we've had to do in the past, but we can bore underneath the ground and bring in the loop system. This is a phased-in approach that would basically start on 10th Street, at Manatee Ave, go down to Baccarata, and then over to, I believe it's gonna be 12th Street, Main, to support the city center project itself. When you look at these types of projects, whether it's the hotel or the like, you need adequate fire flow, and the fire marshal's in the back. He can tell you about the types of cubic, pressure that you need and volume to support that, and that's what we're doing. And that's basically important to be economic development and vitality of the city. Some of the other stuff is more related to structural rehab and rebuild, related to things related to our collection system. As we all know, when things get old, they get penetration. So in rain season, water comes into the piping system. Our treatment plant at the end of the road that's supposed to treat sewage water goes from 8 million gallons a day to 30 million gallons a day. So we have to eliminate that I&I, that inflow and infiltration. We do that through a series of pipelining that's on the agenda, manhole lining, and other types of things that are related both to the lateral that comes into our system, the collection piping, the collection manholes. We have over 4,200 manholes in the city. They have to be lined. Some of them are brick. When you drive by areas now where they're doing new construction and you say, oh man, that's a housing subdivision going in, what do you see but large concrete structure, big holes in it? That's the way they build manholes now, basically, to basically relay, transmit all of that wastewater or flood control water, storm water, along the way. So these are just 5 of the projects, really, of tomorrow, I would say, and we're continuing to do more and more of this. I don't like pulling and kind of elaborating at that detail on the agenda, on consent items, but I think it's important for both council and the public to know. We are gonna continue to try to do public awareness with signage out there, so when we see these projects, it will be dedicated from the city of Bradenton's Face It and Fix It campaign, as approved by city council, administered through Public Works and our admin, and let the public know what we're doing. I also think that we have a responsibility that Tiffany's working at, and some of the folks in communication, to provide you updated workbooks to show you all of these various projects on a bi-weekly basis, every couple weeks, every month, whatever it may be. We had done the report, I think Jim used to do it monthly, but I think when we do these things in a workbook format, you can look at what's just happened recently as well as look back and see what happens. You come to my office, you've seen the layouts of the strategic plans there, and the 40 or 50 different projects, and the untold meetings and Zoom meetings that my staff and my team has, and our ability to bring in the right people to do that. So we're proud of the game speed that we've been able to put into place at the city to address these things. I'll be honest with you, I think most cities our size don't have that type of bandwidth, and they all have the same problem, especially if you're coastal. So with that, I'd submit items, A through T, and
Right.
yeah.
One thing just to comment on that while we're here, because I think more people will, if they are watching and want the information, because I think today a lot of people, if the information doesn't fit their narrative, then they post things or they do things. We have never released raw sewage from our plant. We sometimes have to bypass, but that's what the Face It and Fix It is trying to maneuver through. And the public doesn't see anything happening. You see a nice building going up, you see the ground broken, you see the footer poured, you see the building going up. That is able to be seen. You're not gonna see most of what we're spending that $100 million on. And today's technology with the drill and bore is better because you don't have to dig up a whole street for months. So those are the things that, they need to be on the consent agenda, but they also need to be discussed a little bit, because we are doing stuff, and that's the most important part of the Face It, Fix It. Through our PIO and our office of staff with Tiffany and David, the way things are coming out, the administrative part of it with the team that was here and that we've built onto is making a difference. And, we've got long-term people, we've got obviously Mr. Perry might be one of the newer ones from that standpoint, but from the knowledge standpoint, we have taken that next step to face and fix what we're doing. And it's not just the lining, it's at the plant with a new clarifier that will hold more capacity. If we have a overflow of water coming in for whatever reason, rain, storm water coming up through it, we do have the new equalizer tank that's operational now. And so those things, it's not just one thing, and that's what the $100 million plus is going to be used for, or is being used for. And you're not going to see it as much, but you're going to know that it's happening. And today we have the chamber event where they're going to see a lot of that. So Chair will entertain a motion for consent agenda.
Move to approve.
I'd heard Ms. Coker.
Second.
Second, Ms. Barnaby. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll start the vote in Ward 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5.
Yes.
Thank you for that, and thank you for the explanation, Mr. Perry. And again, looking to the public, go to Face and Fix It on our website, and you can see all that we're doing with a lot of things. So, Madam Clerk.
Item 9A is a public hearing for Resolution 2601. So at this time, I'll administer the oath to anyone wishing to speak during the public hearing. Do you swear or affirm that the factual statements and representations which you are about to present to this board will be truthful and accurate? Thank you.
Thank you. And who do we have for staff?
Brandon Wink, city planner, here for staff, here for the first.
Can you get a little closer to the
Yeah,
microphone?
and you can
Yep.
adjust it. You can.
Just it, got it. Brandon Wink, city planner, here with the first resolution of this new year. So let's make it a fun one. So what we have is it's a major amendment to an existing plan development plan for Bella Sol. And the reason why we're here is because the applicant would like to request to be excluded from a stipulation that is existing in the current plan development plan for the property located at 3901 Fifth Avenue Northeast. The different information, it's in the R1 low-density single-family zoning district. Flood zone is AE, but the house itself is currently in X. The existing use, single-family residence, and the purpose is to amend the existing PDP to exclude the property from a stipulation requiring a fire suppression system. As you can see from the map here, this subject parcel is located right on the edge of where it switches from being the county to the city, right at the beginning of the Bella Sol property. This is what it currently looks like right now, and it is, as you can see from the picture here, it is currently outside the gate to Bella Sol. It is a parcel that in the original plan was kind of left off to the side compared to all of the other ones that are stacked closer together. And as seen on this little picture, there apparently are fire hydrants less than 270 feet from subject property in one direction and less than 300 west in the other. For the zoning map, it's R1, same as all the other ones in that area. And the applicant is requesting to amend the plan development project for Bella Sol, the entire community, to exclude their one singular address from requiring a fire suppression system. The way that we got here is that originally when Bella Sol was put together and as a PDP, there was 17 parcels. And in 2008, on August 13th, they came in to try and expand it from 18 units to 37. At the time, the council discussed with the existing fire marshal, Ken Langston, and there was difficulties brought up with the gate and with how close the houses were together. So a stipulation was added that every new parcel, every new house built would have to have fire suppression. On June 13, 2012, it came back because the PDP was then amended again, and City Council at the time upheld the fire suppression stipulation, but they removed some of it by not needing window sprinklers and by saying that landscaping is not required between the houses. And I have here an email that was sent yesterday from our existing fire marshal.
Does it need to go in the
Can you tell us what fire suppression means? Or do we need to call fire marshal up for that?
I
So
don't think
people
you, it's
understand.
like a sprinkler system for the house.
Well, that just says what, a sprinkler system.
Yeah, a sprinkler system for the house itself. As part of a lot of the discussion, we have audio of back then. We didn't have presentations that were given, but it was discussed that due to how the gate functions and how difficult it would be to get the fire trucks at the time to get through that gate to get to the houses, and by almost doubling how many houses were there by cutting the lots in half, it was determined that individual fire suppression systems or sprinkler systems would be required for each house, because if one went up, then it could easily spread to the others. The applicant, as will be discussed when they come up here, believes that due to their lot being different from the other ones in terms of spacing, in terms of size, and in terms of location, that theirs is uniquely different and should not have the same stipulation on them. Because when it was first applied, it was applied as a wide brushstroke to the entire development. And we do have the applicant here able to speak more on this. They do also have a copy of this email. They've read it today, and they're able to give more info.
All right, Mr. Rudisell, just 1 second, please. Mr. Rudisell, would it be inappropriate to have the fire marshal come up first, since it's under the city report, or would that be better?
Oh, that would be fine.
I'd like him to come up and give us his 2 cents on it if we can first. Good morning.
Morning, sir. Chris Belzer, Fire Marshal. As you can see from the email that I sent yesterday, we went out and
Can you speak
reviewed.
up a little bit?
Yep, sorry. We reviewed the project one more time, and even I talked to the contractor early on. With the placement of the house and the circumstances that it's outside of the gate, the spacing between the houses, we agree that at this point that the suppression system wouldn't be required, as the intent of that stipulation was
Would not be?
Would not be required, yes. Because the stipulation, I think, was put in for the gate access issues, the spacing of the houses. If this was a regular house that was outside of that development being built, that wasn't part of the subdivision, it wouldn't be included anyway.
All right, any questions? Yes, Mr. Schuster.
Just to clarify though, the sole reason to exclude the fire suppression would be the spacing in between the homes?
Yes, sir.
And the development was originally 17 to 38 homes. How many homes are there now?
I think there's 2 empty lots left in there, if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha.
Yes, and this one is at the head of the subdivision. You can see from the map, it's outside of the gate, and its separation distances are dramatically different.
So Chris, simply the spacing, and also I think Brandon mentioned that there is a
Your microphone.
that there is a hydrant right there too.
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes.
easily
Yeah,
accessible.
the spacing of the hydrants is standard for county and city placement.
Understood. Thank you.
Let me interject if I could. A little more history on that is that the gate, the access issue is still there. And it's not only for us, it's for contractors, deliveries. You go out to the gate, and basically, we have to respond in the exit. But this home and property sits right outside of the exit. So it is, unique of the location and that requirement. Now, we also considered the fact if the gate ever was redone or moved, there'd also be requirements for the cul-de-sac that are already in place with a 50-foot things of that nature, where I'm guessing it would have to come back and we would have to look at that, and it would go through approvals again. So, you know, even if the homeowner, as it currently sits, wanted to redo the gate setup with the HOA, it would have to be addressed again. But, you know, the access issue is still there, but this property owner doesn't have that. It's a unique setup. He's sitting right outside the gate. The hydrant locations are accurate. We've visited the property. You know, and like the fire marshal said, I think in this scenario, we agree that we can forego the suppression system.
Mr. Rudisell, do you feel that there's two properties that are still going to be built there? Will this set any precedent for those two properties?
No, the order is specific as it relates to this property. So, and I think you've heard a lot of testimony already about how this particular lot is different from the others.
Ms. Moore and then Mr. Perry.
So do I understand correctly that, right, oh, sorry. Do I understand, Chief Greer, correctly that if the gate should be relocated to be in front, or to have this now residence behind the gate, so that the gate would have to be addressed, would that change your opinions? And this is also to the inspector.
Well, the fire marshal and I have talked, and it would change my opinion. I don't see the distances getting any shorter in the roundabout or the cul-de-sac. I don't see how they could. We don't know how the county would approve it, much less I know we wouldn't approve it.
New gate.
A new gate that would reduce the distance. So, you know, the odds of that happening are, I mean, to us, were pretty slim and none. So we're actually, you know, it's almost a moot point. I mean, we're okay approving it as is. We thought about putting a stipulation about the gate in, but we don't think it's necessary. And so, you know, really, unless the HOA has this idea to move the gate, and planning may have more to interject, but right now we just don't see a problem with it, with the distances and the way the property sits. It is unique to the property owner, and we don't have an access issue getting to his property.
Mr. Perry?
It's not mentioned in here, but I'm assuming that since it does have fire suppression access from the accessible hydrant outside the gate, and it's within range of what we typically standardize tolerance, acceptable tolerance, that it wouldn't impact the ISO rating for insurance as a notable condition or anything else as a survey. That would be something I would be concerned with, because if it did, it could obviously impact other people's insurance rates for fire, casualty insurance, including fire, but I don't think it would in this case.
No, because if this house wasn't included in the subdivision, it would be treated like every house on the neighborhood.
Right, which would require sprinkling.
Which, yeah, does not require it, right.
Stoker and then Ms. Barnaby.
I think my question relates to, I realize none of us contemplate that they would ever want to change the gate, but in the event they were, what's to ensure that they wouldn't miss that we did this special thing for them? I mean, how do you make sure that that doesn't get missed?
Memorialized.
Do we do the stipulation as the chief said? That if it was ever,
I think, and when we looked at it, I don't think they're gonna be able to move a gate without going through Manatee County, without coming through us, Public Works. Yeah, there'd be a lot of people that would have hands involved before it got approved.
They'd have to permit it.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
through the permitting process, I mean, could
It
it
would
be
get
missed
caught.
theoretically? Sure. But should it be missed? No. Both through the SIP, through Public Works, and then ultimately through the SIP that fire, it has their input in. There's multiple redundant levels of review that would probably say, no, we're not gonna allow you to move the gate.
okay. Okay.
Ms. Barnaby?
Is our building official in the meeting?
Yes, I saw him here earlier.
Could I ask the building official to step up,
Matt?
please? Yes. Ms. Ruth, thank you.
Matt Rush, building
You
official.
must agree, our fire marshal, in that area, I could not see behind him, so. The fire marshal's email, the final paragraph says, unless the Florida Residential Building Code requires the system, the COB building official feels the system is required, or some other unforeseen circumstance is presented. Can you verify that it's not required by the building code and that you agree with our fire marshal on this?
Correct. The Florida Building Code does not require residentials to be sprinkled. That was just the stipulation through the memorandum from previous. That's the only reason they're being sprinkled. There's no Florida Building Code requirement.
Thank you.
Yes.
There's also no building code for certain businesses under certain sizes and heights.
Correct. Yes.
Moving on.
Okay.
All I can say is it wasn't me.
Yeah,
It wasn't me either.
yeah, no.
Wow, I missed
So, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So we can bring the applicant up, and I think you've probably heard everything pretty positive right now, so do you have anything to add, or
Well, thank you for hearing me out.
please state your name and city of residence for the address?
My name's Rick Solito. I'm a resident of Parrish, and I'm here representing the property owners and also my company, Team Builders SRQ. I heard what you said about the gate, so just to make that very clear, there is no way, even if they decided they wanted to do that, there's no way the way the configuration of the cul-de-sac is, that that gate could be located in such a way that it would obscure that property. I can go through this all again, but you heard everything I was going to present. There's nothing really more to say.
All right, so what I'll do is at this time, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak? Anyone wishing to speak? Anyone wishing to speak? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, I got Miss Moore.
Okay, thank you. I move to approve Resolution 26-01.
Seconded by Mr. Schuessler.
Yes.
All right. All right, we've had discussion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll start the vote. In Ward 2,
Yes.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5,
Yes.
1.
Yes.
Carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you very much. Moving on, Madam Clerk.
Item 9B is the second reading and public hearing for ordinance 4065, an ordinance of the City of Bradenton, Florida, amending Bradenton Land Use Regulations, Chapter 5.0, accessory uses, structures, and signage, Section 5.1.2.7, fences and hedges, to modify allowable residential fence height and location, to provide for temporary fences, to provide for fences on vacant property, and to clarify the limitations on retaining walls. Amending Section 5.2.2.4, fences and hedges, to modify allowable non-residential fence height and location, to provide for temporary fences, to provide for fences on vacant property, and to clarify the limitations on retaining walls. And amending Chapter 10, definitions, to modify definitions related thereto, providing for codification, providing for the repeal of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Good morning, Robin Singer, Planning Community Development Director.
Sorry. The computer.
This is a text amendment that initiated by staff, essentially to respond to a number of variances that we were getting, as well as other development proposals, and particularly a single-family area of development where we've seen development patterns that don't seem to be supported by the code, and we're just trying to make the code match prior interpretations of the code. Some of the issues with current regulations are that fences along alleys are limited as are accessory structures. The code essentially recognizes alleys as a right-of-way, and therefore you're limited to, almost as if it's another frontage. We could see on aerial maps along alleyways that a lot of people have accessory structures and fences adjacent to the alleys, but that doesn't seem to be consistent with the way the code is currently written. Also, corner visibility at intersections, and it applies at intersections of driveways and alleys. equally, and it's a 35-foot corner visibility triangle. So even though fences are allowed in the front yards, pretty much if your neighbor has a driveway adjacent, if you have a driveway in the front, it's going to eliminate a lot of the opportunity for fencing in the front. And then also, you cannot currently vacate on vacant lots, fence around those, because fences are considered accessory structures, and if you don't have a primary structure, you can have an accessory structure. And so I think both police and code enforcement kind of support the idea that as long as it's a transparent fence, and it doesn't lead to other kinds of problems with illegal dumping or outside storage, that it would be beneficial to have some of these vacant lots fenced in to eliminate vagrancy and other kinds of issues that people are having with the vacant lots. And then also fence allowances on corner lots are a little confusing, and I'll get into that with a diagram that we've prepared. So the scope of the changes are, we're amending both the residential and non-residential fence regulations. Some of these aspects, particularly when we're talking about definitions of visibility triangles, pertain also to the form-based code. Reducing the visibility dimensions from 35 feet to 25 feet at street intersections, and reducing to 10 feet in intersections with alleys and driveways. So that we still have corner visibility requirements when a street intersects with an alley or a driveway, but it's not the 35 feet that we currently have. Allowing fences on secondary fronts between the building and the road, and again, I'll get into that with a diagram. Requiring open picket fencing on the primary front. Our code isn't really clear in terms of materials, but if we are reducing that corner visibility triangle, we want to make sure that the fencing that's going out there is somewhat transparent so that somebody pulling up to the intersection can still see oncoming traffic, even with that reduction in the visibility triangle. We're amending the temporary fence allowance to specify that they are allowed at 6 feet and must be chain link. And that's temporary fences, not the fences around vacant lots. Allowing fencing for vacant properties to secure purposes only with certain criteria, addressing retaining walls relative to easements, and providing for project perimeter fences and walls around residential developments. And that's in the case of when you look at villages of Glen Creek, for example, you have a large residential development, there is a 6-foot wall that generally surrounds that. And so this provides for that if you have these larger residential developments, that you can do that kind of perimeter fence and wall. Clarifying the definitions of frontage to allow 6-foot fences along alleys, again, as I mentioned before. Differentiating between primary and secondary front yards, and again, we'll get into that, it's part of the definitions section. And redefining streets for clarification on frontage of a street versus an alley. So the diagram shows what's currently allowed. So you have fairly large 35-foot corner visibility triangles. There's also something that says that you can have a 6-foot fence, and the yellow line is a 6-foot fence, provided it is at least, it's half the distance between the building and the yard. But there's limitations on that also. And when you have this L-shaped home, that where is the building and where can that fence go? And so what we're proposing is that fence be allowed to extend to the front corner of the house, not just to the back corner of the house. And thereby we kind of eliminate that issue with that back portion of the home extending into it. Also, this is reduced down from a 35-foot corner visibility triangle to a 25-foot corner visibility triangle. And along the alleys and driveways, it's down to a 10-foot corner visibility triangle as opposed to 35 feet. And so this gives you, there's a chart in each, both for residential and for non-residential, that tells you where the visibility triangle has to be honored, and what the allowances are for fences in the front yard. And we say open picket or rail. And the reason we added or rail was, that was the Planning Commission, because they wanted to specify that decoratively you could have a horizontal rail fence, not just a vertical picket. And so we're calling for at least 75% transparencies in the primary frontage of the front yard. So you can still have that 6-foot fence that kind of encloses your pool area along your secondary frontage, but in the primary frontage, it does have to be transparent.
And so when we presented that diagram that I previously showed you to the Planning Commission, they said it would be nice to have that in the code. So one of our board members prepared this diagram for inclusion in the code, who's an architect. So, so it gives you a little greater clarification that those 10 feet are required to the driveway that's on the subject property and along the alleyway, and that you can have that 6-foot fence extending into the front. So, is the diagram fairly clear for everyone?
Yeah, it's very good.
Except it says 20, I thought it was 35 foot.
It was 35 feet, but we're reducing that corner visibility to 25 feet
okay.
on street intersections. Okay, and same thing, the regulations for non-residential fences are a little less restrictive, but we're making some of the same changes in that instance. So vacant property fencing. So, and I would just imported into the presentation the one for residential, but there's similar language in the non-residential fencing portion of the code. In all residential zoning districts, including those in the form-based code area, fences are considered accessory structures to primary permitted uses and cannot be installed on vacant property except at the discretion of the PCD director, provided that all of the following criteria are met. So the fence is required to secure a vacant property, prevent vagrancy or illegal dumping. The fence consists of transparent open metal picket fencing or vinyl coated chain link. The height and location of the fence meets the requirements of section 5.1.2.7.a. So in other words, all of the setback and corner visibility requirements that have to be met. On corner lots, the fence will be set back a minimum of 10 feet from the secondary property frontage line. And the reason is that, as I showed in the diagram, you get that reduction of the setback between the building and the property line on the secondary frontage. Since there's no building on the lot, we're saying that a 10-foot setback is required. And the property shall not be used for outdoor storage, parking, or similar uses unless permitted as a primary use on the zoning district, and all required permits and approvals are obtained for that use. So I think that's important because we've had a number of people wanting to use properties for storage and or parking, and it's not necessarily a permitted use. And I think the idea that they can just hide it behind a fence, we're trying to dispel that by putting that in the code. And the property must meet the property maintenance standards of vacant property and not be overgrown or contain trash and debris. So once again, you can't just use it as a dumping ground. You can't use the fence to try to conceal what's going on behind it. You can't say that, well, I don't have to mow it, it's behind the fence. They have to maintain the property as if it's still a vacant lot, and same standards. Yes.
I just wanted to double check because as our duties with the CRA, and we have purchased several properties that were not attractive in a neighborhood. I don't like using the S word. And one of the first things I said to our CRA director was, we probably need to fence that off to make sure that we don't have urban camping and other things going on. And he said, we can't do that because of the city code. So this is changing that.
Correct.
Am I correct? Okay. Thank
Vice
you.
Mayor Coker?
In that vein, I don't know if it should be, there are a few properties, and I'm not sure who owns it, but on Tamiami Trail that I've noticed that have the vinyl fencing on it, but it's always in disrepair. I don't know if it gets hit or people climb it, but it looks horrible.
We own one of them,
I know.
so.
I was being nice.
Yeah,
Mr. Williams
that should be
keeps up on
through
that
code
a
enforcement
lot,
action.
but it gets hit all the time.
Okay, I know who to call now.
We're getting ready to replace some of that, so.
Yeah, and keeping it maintained inside.
A lot of
It's-
trash gets, just think if there wasn't a fence there, how bad it would look with the trash inside.
Okay, that's all. I just wanted to make sure that,
It's on the radar.
well, and that it gets maintained. I mean, I realize it's difficult, but, I mean, if not everybody will address it, and it takes so long for code enforcement, to do stuff, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You may see some fences out there that are galvanized, not vinyl coated, that don't have a top rail. Those are generally construction fences, and you're permitted to have those to secure a construction site while you have an active permit. However, if your permit lapses, then that fence needs to go away, and as well as cleaning up everything else with the site. So, that's not the same as the vacant property fencing. So retaining walls, and we anticipate we're gonna see more of these, as people redevelop after the flooding that occurred last year or the year before. And so we wanna make sure that these retaining walls, and because it's natural, like if you're gonna build your house up 4 feet off of adjacent grade, that you probably want to retain the dirt around it so that you don't have as many steps down to your driveway or as many steps down to your pool. But we want to make sure that those retaining walls don't extend into drainage easements or other kinds of easements, because there's a natural flow of stormwater that generally runs across people's backyards. However, there are a lot of places that don't have easements, and we're hard pressed to control those. I think you'd find in velocity zones and other extreme flooding areas that the amount of fill that you can bring is also limited by FEMA. But still, we're trying to make sure that we're keeping those drainage easements and other kinds of easements clear. Does that create a little bit of a dead space behind a house? It can, but they're still responsible for maintaining that. Just because they're not allowed to put a retaining wall in it doesn't mean they don't have to maintain that. And then also the height of the retaining wall should be measured from the outside lower grade, inclusive of any fence or wall that may be on top of the retaining wall. So I have seen circumstances where somebody puts in a 2-foot retaining wall and then they say, well, I'm entitled to a 6-foot fence, and so so now they have 8 feet. So really your total fence height should be measured from the outside grade, including the retaining wall and any fence you put on top of it. Project perimeter fencing, this is what I was talking about with a larger scale development, that they're entitled to have fencing or a wall, perhaps a decorative wall that goes around a larger scale development. On double frontage lots, the primary front lot line should be the lot line abutting the street upon which the property is assigned an address by the city. So we're having issues sometimes with making that determination where property has 2, 3, maybe even 4 frontages. What is the primary frontage? And it comes into play when you're dealing with fences and, of course, accessory structures. So we wanted to clarify the definition on that. It should be determined based upon the classification of abutting streets and the front lot lines applied to adjacent properties. Other front lot lines shall be either secondary or rear lot lines as determined by the PCD director based upon the lot lines of adjacent properties. So if you have a double fronted property and everybody's facing one way, and then you have the person in the middle who decides they want to face the other way, that's not not what we want. We want consistent setbacks and consistent frontage determinations across a block. Alley lot lines, and again, this is something that really isn't clearly defined in the code, and we want to make sure it was. So lot lines along an alley should be considered the rear lot line if they are parallel to and opposite the front lot line. Lot lines along an alley shall be considered the side lot line if they are perpendicular to and intersect with the front lot line. Alley lot line should be considered the front lot line if the alley is the only primary access right-of-way. So, or right-of-way access, excuse me. So that just clarifies, we don't have a lot of alleys in the city, but we do have certain blocks that haven't been fully platted, or the plats are really old and kind of have gone through some things so that you have some landlocked parcels and that parcels that are only accessed through an alley. So we want to make sure when we're determining the frontage and what the setbacks should be, that we have clarification on alley frontages. And then also streets, I believe we took this from another community, but a strip of land intended for vehicular traffic providing the principal means of access to the property. So we're basically trying to take alleys out of the street definition, clarify that we have alleys and we have streets, and this is the difference. The term street shall not be deemed to include alleys except as otherwise specifically provided herein. And then the visibility triangles, so 25 feet at the intersection of two streets and 10 feet at the intersection of an alley or a driveway on the subject property. So that was illustrated previously. So Planning Commission recommendation was for approval, subject to changing that from just vertical picket to include a rail fence, include a diagram as shown, and limiting the size of school campus. And I don't think I included that definition here, but I believe it was part of Project Fences, public schools. And I think we might have changed that in there, and I just can't recall what we said. I apologize. I don't think I imported that into the presentation. But they were concerned about what size of school, because you may have a storefront school. And a lot of schools, we don't really issue building permits for schools, but zoning regulations may apply in certain instances. So schools always are subject to safety considerations, and they're wanting to put in 6 or 8 foot tall fences. We're not looking to get in the way of that, and we want to include private schools as well as public schools in that. However, storefront schools and other kinds of things that pop up, we wanted, I think it was a 3 acre.
1 acre is
1
what
acre.
the ordinance says.
Yeah, so it's essentially for standalone schools that they would be permitted to have fencing around them. And with that, I'm open to any questions you may have.
Ms. Moore?
Regarding the retaining walls, and that issue with maybe the drainage isn't platted, would some, it's maybe not completely on point, but would some element of dealing with impervious surfaces assist with that?
We already have an impervious surface limitation. Generally in the R1, I think it's 50%. So
I think that is going to happen in the areas that are rebuilding after the hurricane.
Yeah.
With the rebuilds, I think people are changing the way water is flowing all throughout those areas, and not always beneficial to the person next to the person that was building the things. So I just raise that as maybe another thing that eventually could also be tied in and addressed.
Mr. Schuessler?
Ms. Singer, can you, just for clarification purposes, go through alleys versus streets? Are we changing that definition of what a street is and what an alley is?
Yes, we can go back through that. So, a strip of land intended for vehicular traffic and providing, so you can see the strike through there. That's the old definition.
Yeah.
And by thoroughfare, I mean, that can mean a lot of different things. So we're trying to differentiate between a street and alleys.
But an alley can be a street. There was an alley behind my house for 30 years.
Yeah.
On 32nd Street, but it was 33rd Street. So, but it was only a single lane, and the only people that accessed it, because our garages faced that. Yeah. But again, if you would have said I had to put a fence 25 feet off my property line, it would have been in my house.
Yeah.
You know, because we had it
Yeah,
4
I think
feet
the
off.
key to some of that is providing the principal means of access to property.
Understood on that. So I think what we're perhaps trying to avoid is that an alleyway that is in fact behind a house that is not a named street, so we don't have those. Your home is on, has 2 front yards when it's actually a backyard and just an alleyway?
Right.
Is that what that's trying to, got it.
Yeah, I think we were focused mainly on the improvements that would include along an alley, and so we were more focused on alley lot lines. But I think we generally consider, and it may be an issue with what you're talking about, consider if it doesn't have a name on it, it's typically an alley. It's usually platted at up to 20 feet.
Understood.
Sometimes as little as 10. So there's sort of a hierarchy, and that may be leading more to how our right-of-way ordinances address that. But,
Understood.
yeah.
Can I?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, sorry. Was Lisa
I don't know
before?
who's first.
On that.
Okay, because having built on a few of these lots, a lot of times the outbuildings, like if it was a detached garage, it could go within 5 feet of the boundary. Are you getting rid of that now?
They still could go, if we're talking about an alley, and we're
An alley, yes.
delineating that, if it's parallel to the front, that it is now a rear. And so that 5-foot setback would apply to
Okay.
allow the pool, the shed 5 feet off of that rear alley property line.
Okay,
But that's, if it's a corner lot and has 2 streets, those are both fronts. One is a primary front, the other is a secondary front. You could have a triple fronted property that has streets on 3 sides. They don't get the 5-foot setback
which
to
is the
those
straight
streets.
alley, you're just gonna have a front setback, a back setback
Yeah.
on your sides, and then
Yeah.
you can go an outbuilding. Okay.
Ms. Moore?
Would it help with the definition of an alley to, similar to when you said, when you have the double frontage, that you're gonna use as a factor that the property address is that street? Would that help with an alley? Like, could you say it's more likely to be an alley if the address is not
On that street.
that street?
Right.
Yeah, we do have alleys that do provide the primary access, but they are clearly alleys because they're not numbered or named. And I don't know how they're addressed, to be
Yeah, I was
honest
gonna
with you.
say, how do they
Usually
get
they're
an address if
addressed
there's
to
no
the
street?
nearest street, yeah. So if you have an alley that passes 1 or 2 lots to access a 3rd lot in the back, it may be addressed to that street that it was accessed off of.
Yeah, that makes
You
sense.
know, and I have seen circumstances, not here, but where alleys are named, like we talked about.
Well, most of them in the River District are named, have street numbers
Yeah.
that are the
Yeah,
alleys.
yeah.
I
The
know of
alleys?
probably, yeah.
Can,
Yeah, because they're,
because of the way that that area was platted in the
Platted, yeah.
1920s.
and then like where mine was, the church ended up buying the lots and using it as their parking instead of building houses on it. So it never, it's still a single lane street, but it's a named street, and I can probably name 4 or 5 of them, I don't know the numbers, but I could drive you right to them.
Yeah.
And they're alleys, and for years, the city didn't pave them. And then over the last 25-plus years, we've paved single-lane dirt roads that were people's
Yeah.
alleys access to their homes. But their street address was on the other street in the front, so. Ms. Coachman?
Yeah, I just have a question, because there's a situation where we have a residence where at one point the alley had a street name, but now it doesn't, and there's issue now because of that. 'cause
That's with
that-
an address and everything.
Yeah,
It's
because
from
the
front of
the
city.
frontage of the house is facing what was the alley, and, you know, so how, if it was once,
Is it now facing what is a healthcare administration? Am I thinking of the same one? Okay.
not that one, no, yeah.
But,
There is gonna be one-offs that we're gonna have to.
yeah, there
address.
is.
Yeah.
We're not gonna fix everything,
Yeah.
yeah. We have a few, like I said, a few blocks that are kind of oddly configured over time and have created even landlocked parcels. So we're not gonna fix everything with this.
But
It's
it's
just
gonna
a
help a
start.
lot. It'll be
Yeah.
clarification, and what I like about it is from the phone calls we get of different things in planning,
Mm-hmm.
is this is pretty simple. You know, if they know what they've got, they can read through it, and it's making the friendly city a little friendlier in understanding it, and that's important. All right, so this is a public hearing, so anything else, Ms. Singer?
And nothing for me.
All right, all staff, so go to the public hearing. We'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak? Anyone wishing to speak? Anyone wishing to speak? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Coachman.
move to adopt ordinance 4065, if I'm on the right page right now.
4065. Ms.
Second?
Second by Ms. Barnaby. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll start the vote in Ward 3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5,
Yes.
1,
Yes.
2.
Yes.
Approved 5-0. Thank you. Moving on, Madam Clerk.
Item 9C is the first reading and also public hearing for ordinance 4066, an ordinance of the City of Bradenton, Florida, providing for text amendments to the comprehensive plan related to coastal development, amending the future land use element policy 1.2.1 and omitting policy 1.2.2, addressing land use and density in the coastal high hazard area, providing for applicability, providing for severability, sorry, and providing for an effective date.
Ms. Singer?
Wait,
And Robin
before,
Singer, Planning
before we
Commission.
start, Mr. Mayor, I just want to note, this is a transmittal hearing for this, so this ordinance, if passed by the council today, would be submitted to the state for their review and comment, and then it would come back for final adoption, so there is action required today. The city council would need to vote to transmit it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, this is a further amendment regarding coastal high hazard area. If you recall, last year, we approved amendments to the comprehensive plan to provide for changes that would allow density increases in the coastal high hazard area. And this was to be consistent with state statutes. It wasn't something that we came up with, it's something that the state came up with, and we were just bringing ourselves in line with that. However, that petition was petitioner-driven, so it really just addressed their needs. They had no interest in density bonus points, which would be given for affordable housing or in the urban core area that might be given for, such as 920 Manatee had density bonus points that allowed them to get to 137 units. So we didn't anticipate that there would be any immediate need, but we have heard some interest that there may be some comp plan amendments where someone wants to change to the urban core district and go through that process just as the other parcels did. And so we need to provide for that in case they do want to take advantage of any of the density bonuses that are available within a coastal high hazard area. So this just depicts, you can barely make out the edge of the city. And I didn't include Perico Island because it is in its entirety within the coastal high hazard area. It also happens to be a future land use designation of low residential. So, and that's already controlled, what remains of it is controlled by a settlement agreement. So it's kind of outside the boundaries of this. But so the scope of the changes is to amend policy 1.2.1, and this is in the urban core future land use designation that allows for an applicant to come to city council and ask for an increase in density up to 200 units per acre. But they have to be urban core, first of all. And that in itself, when it comes to you, is going to go through that other that other process where they have to come to you to show evacuation routes and that they're going to meet those requirements in the statutes. And then this also admits policy 1.2.2, which for any of the future land use designations that happen to overlap with a coastal high hazard area, that if they are asking for increase in densities beyond what they're currently allowed, that may be due to affordable units. And so you're talking about going from 40 to 50 dwelling units per acre or 60 to 70 dwelling units per acre, depending on the future land use designation. So for the urban core, this outlines for you, this is the current urban core. And so what we're talking about is the provisions in the code that allows for a maximum base density of 60 dwelling units per acre and up to 200 dwelling units per acre if approved by city council and meets the following criteria. One of those criteria is that it could not overlap with a coastal high hazard area. We, after discussions with the city attorney, decided to just omit that. It just makes it simpler because there is that whole other process now that we have established in the code that if you are increasing density, and that would include under these circumstances, that you would have to go through that process if you're changing to urban core and then you're asking for those density bonus points. The other section is very simply at the end of where it goes through all of the different designations and the densities that are allowed. We had this provision that you can't grant density bonus within areas of the coastal high hazard area. So we're omitting that one as well, and that would allow people to build those additional affordable units in any of the districts that happen to overlap with a coastal high hazard area. And with that, the Planning Commission recommended approval, and I'm open to any questions.
Questions, Ms. Moore?
So this only applies to what is currently or what will be in the future zoned urban core?
No, the first part is just for urban core. So if they're switching to urban core, and they want to obtain in excess of the 60 dwelling units per acre up to the 200. That's what 920 did. But 920 didn't, overlap with the coastal high hazard. So it's just, if you're changing to urban core, which is currently just that darker blue area here, and you overlap with a coastal high hazard area, then,
So the process is really that they come before city council to rezone to urban core,
yeah.
and in that process, they ask for density bonuses within a coastal high hazard area.
Yeah, it would probably be two separate development agreements, because one addresses you're changing to urban core, which increases your density, and that alone requires that whole other process with evacuation zones. And then if you're coming in for the 200 dwelling units per acre or up to, that's a separate thing that you get approved by city council, and that's another development agreement.
So in the second process, when they're asking for the additional density, at any point, I should say, in the process, do they have to commit to what the project is or what they're doing?
Usually they would. I mean, we haven't had too many of those, as I'm aware, and they occurred before I got here. But usually, just kind of like a PDP, city council, I would imagine, wants to see the development that's going to be built.
Right, yeah, I feel like this is just to share my opinion with you guys. I want the option to say yes or no, but I feel like the part of the consideration is going to be how confident I feel about what they're proposing. And, many times when we're just rezoning, and you guys already know this about me, my concern is usually centered around, there's no, within just a rezone, guarantee that we're gonna get what they're saying or that they're gonna give us. And so I'm trying to confirm that there is some role of committing to their project, I guess you could say.
Yeah, a couple things I'll talk with that too. Obviously, this morning we heard about affordability, so this helps with
Right.
affordability and going into some. And then also market-driven. They're not going to build something that isn't going to, they think, be successful. And we've seen, to me, that's been a detriment to Bradenton over all the years, that we had so many restrictions that the development community, and you could say what you want about developers, but they did not want to come here because we were so restrictive on either what we would give or how we made them get it. And I think we're just trying to be a little bit more open, so we can then wordsmith through some of that and get some of the developments that might help affordability. And affordability in everybody's mind is it Section 8, or is it market rate, or is it what? Because attainable is more important to, I think, people that are making $16 an hour. What's attainable, but also what is your market rate? What are your expenses, and how do you get into something? And that might be an 800 square foot apartment, not a 1,600 square foot.
Sure.
Because, some single individuals don't really live in their apartment, but they need a place to sleep. And that might be the affordability part of it. Ms. Barnaby.
I just want you to repeat one more time the thing that you said about we're required by the state to do at the very beginning of your presentation.
Yes, so if we are increasing density in a coastal high hazard area by changing the comprehensive plan designation, that's essentially how we would do that. They have to meet all those criteria and standards that are established by the state regarding evacuation and the other things that were intended with the coastal high hazard area. And I think I've said it before, but coastal high hazard basically coincides with evacuation zone A. So it really is about evacuation. It really is about getting people out of there in a storm event. And so they have to prove to us that they can do that, or they have a plan in place to do that. And that's really what that's about.
Thank you.
All right, another quick question, and we'll go to Ms. Moore. Does this help or have anything to do with the Live Local Act that also does some things? Could that enhance that?
I mean, it wouldn't hurt. Live Local would apply to any kind of commercial mixed use or industrial properties, and to the degree those overlap with this area, then yes, it would impact those as well.
Okay, Ms. Moore, thank you.
Yes, I just wanted to also follow up on the comment that you made regarding that really the state statute is primarily concerned with evacuation routes and whatnot, but we spoke extremely briefly about some concerns that I wanted to make sure were alleviated, which is what they would have to do as far as building to safety, elevating, materials to be used. And my understanding is that there are other, there's FEMA and other building codes that would be applicable so that we would not be in a position where the project is irresponsible because of potential for hurricanes and whatnot.
Right. And coastal hazard is a little different than all of our FEMA regulations and all of the other requirements we have for building outside of flood zone. But certainly allowing for redevelopment of properties is going to help to bring those properties in compliance, because once they build new, now they're going to be subject to all those FEMA requirements. So I think the allowance to allow them to increase density will encourage the redevelopment of properties, and maybe those properties haven't been compliant with FEMA. So it could have that effect as well, and I think we saw that in the prior petitions last year, where they were really talking about rebuilding some of their buildings and units to be more resilient. So it can have that impact as well.
I think another thing when you talk about evacuations, and we had the perfect example, and I think probably all of us up here have been guilty of it at one time or another, where if you're in the A zone and you're ordered to evacuate and you don't, then that's on you. And we saw that during Helene, where 800 people in shelters. 11 days later, we saw it in Milton, almost 30,000 in shelters. So people took it a little more serious a week later, basically, where now we're almost 2 years out, or coming up on 2 years in this year, and will people forget that again? So, evacuations are, and I know with our fire department, our police department, you can tell them, but you can't make them leave. And like I said, we all have been guilty of that at one point or another, where, we haven't had anything here, we're staying in our home, and then you have 2, 3, 4 feet of water in your home while you're on the countertop.
Right.
So, yes,
Just to
ma'am.
follow up on that, and this again really is more in the way of sharing opinion versus questioning Ms. Singer. I do think that the hurricane experience, I think, is so relevant for us, and like I say, I feel like challenges can be opportunities, and I think that was an opportunity for us in this position to really learn a lot about what happens, physically when we are the unfortunate recipient of a disaster, and something that I feel is very real and tangible to me personally, but also to many people in our community, is how difficult it is to rebuild, not because of us, but because of, laws that are designed to have you rebuild safer, but the practicality of how expensive it is to build safer. And so for me, this feels like an opportunity to help developers or property owners create opportunities to actually build things that are safer in these environments because of the scale, because it's higher density. So those are my primary goals.
And to point to that is it gives opportunity to do that, but it also gives opportunity to maybe do some more affordable
Yes,
living.
absolutely, sure.
That's one of the things that I think and downtown urban core living.
Right, yes.
So, all right, so we've had a lot of discussion. Let's go on, we'll open the public hearing and see if we have anybody, but it's time to open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak? Anyone wishing to speak? Come forward if you want to speak, and you have 3 minutes. You come up if you want. Come up if you have a question, and we can, unless you don't want to. You don't have to, but it's up to you. All right, anyone wishing to speak? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing, and the chair will entertain a motion to transmit this to the state through our approval today, and then it will come back to us for a second reading and final approval.
That's correct.
Okay. All right?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to authorize staff to transmit ordinance 4066 to the state.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Ms. Coachman, second. All right, we've had discussion. We'll start the vote in Ward 4,
Yes.
5,
Yes.
1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3.
Yes.
Carries 5-0. At this moment, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break, and we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Waits until after I go.
All right, we'll come back. Madam Clerk?
Item 9D is the second reading and public hearing for ordinance 4071, an ordinance of the City of Bradenton, Florida, amending Chapter 18, Article 9, Section 18-241 of the City Code of Ordinances to modify certain provisions of the International Property Maintenance Code, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
All right, who do we have from staff?
I think code enforcement, Mr. Rice and Mr. Rush from building department.
Y'all are
morning.
acting like we haven't had our rabies shot or something.
Good morning. My name is Volker Reis. I'm the code enforcement manager for the city of Bradenton. This is technically a submittal by code enforcement. However, it is a subject matter that Matt can talk to much better than I can. So that's why we have him here. And Chris, this was initiated by the fire marshal and the building official because there is a discrepancy between the Florida building code and the International Property Maintenance Code. So there is a small part of the International Property Maintenance Code that needs to be excluded from our City Code of Ordinances.
Okay, welcome.
Welcome. Matt Rush, building official. The reason we need to have this removed is the IRC, which is your International Residential Code, requires residence dwellings to be sprinkled, and they reference that in the Property Maintenance Code because that's a publication by ICC, which when we adopt that, we just need to clean it up so it matches with the Florida Building Code to where we don't have that confusion of, well, your property maintenance says that building has to be sprinkled, but Florida Building Code doesn't, so that's where this is coming from, just to clean it up.
All right. Any questions?
If Mr. Rush could explain a little bit more detail about what it applies to, the scope of it, when we talk about residential properties and things of that nature.
Residential properties are going to be 1 and 2 family townhomes, so like single family dwellings, townhomes. Those are all what's single family type dwellings, which would be considered like an R3 in the code use, and those are exempt from the sprinkling. That would still, even though apartment buildings are residential units, those are a different classification that still requires.
Is there any size restriction on a home?
None at all in the Florida Building Code.
Because I know on some businesses, there's size restrictions.
Yes.
For sprinklers.
Yeah. That gets, the use and the size determines which ones get sprinkled.
So you're telling me basically the International Property Maintenance Code requires that single-family residents be sprinkled?
Yes, it references that all of the sections of Chapter 7, I think it is in there. So we have, in the beginning of our ordinances, we have the exclusions of certain provisions that aren't enforced. This was something that came about in the IRC a couple of years ago, and nobody caught it to exempt it out, so.
That's kind of a big thing to miss, since you do residential construction, and the cost with sprinkling is significant.
It makes
Yeah.
makes something unbuildable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's,
in
and
essence.
Florida
Or
excludes
unaffordable.
that, so.
Yeah, unaffordable.
Unfortunately, if you go to a lot of different states, you're gonna sprinkle your home irregardless, because the IRC does
If I
require.
was California, I would.
Right.
Yes.
It depends on your.
Especially.
Single-family residents.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Coker.
Yeah, just making sure by taking out the reference to that, we aren't, I mean, there are still some like you said, apartments, condos, I don't know what mixed use that requirement is, but we still have provision for that we're not deleting everything.
Correct. That section that we're taking out strictly talks to the single-family residential.
Okay.
So,
All right, any other questions before we go to public hearing? Thank you very much. We'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak? Anyone wishing to speak? Anyone wishing to speak? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Barnaby.
I would really like to make this motion because I believe I made the motion when we first started doing this back in 1998 or 1999, because the city at the time did not have a way to get certain landlords to fix properties, mainly in the urban core. And this was one of the tools that we used to do that. And I was very proud of the fact that we got something going. So I would like to make the motion to approve ordinance 4071.
Second.
Second. All right. Any further discussion by the council? Hearing none, we'll start the vote in Ward 5.
Yes.
1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
Yes.
4.
Yes.
Carries 5-0. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk.
Item 10A is a contract for purchase and sale for 1105 18th Street West.
Mr. Perry.
Ms. Fortin's going to give the presentation for items 10A and 10B.
Okay.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Corey Fortin, Policy, Planning, Procedures, and Real Estate Administrator.
Can you talk a little closer to the microphone, please?
I
know
will
that-
try.
That doesn't make you nervous or anything.
Okay, as you may recall, we went through an RFP and we selected the Urban Group to provide real estate brokerage services to assist us in the disposition of city surplus properties. The Urban Group listed this particular property located at 1105 18th Street West on the MLS for $75,000. As a result of that listing, the city received 2 offers on that subject vacant lot. We are bringing this offer to you today for consideration as we believe the purchase price of $80,500, which is $5,500 over the listing price, is a desirable offer. The other offer on the property was, had an escalation clause that would bring the price a little bit higher, but there were certain restrictions like a due diligence and an inspection period that would increase our obligations there under and extend the time to closing. We believe this offer will result in a fair price for this lot and will result in an expedient and efficient closing. The buyer will be responsible for all closing costs, and the conveyance will be by special warranty deed as required by our disposition of surplus property policy. Also, this property was designated by you all as suitable for affordable housing. Due to that, the city's policy requires that the funds from this sale be deposited into the city's affordable housing fund. Monies that are deposited into that fund may only be used to expand the production of, preservation of, or permanent affordable housing upon the recommendation of the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee and approval by City Council. So we are.
Questions for Ms. Fortner? All right, and obviously, you've had the information and went over it with Mr. Perry in your meeting. So Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Coachman.
motion to approve the contract for purchase and sale of 1105 18th Street West, forwarding of the required notice to the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, and authorize to execute all closing documents required to consummate the sale.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, Ms. Barnaby. Any other questions by the council? Hearing none, we'll start the vote in Ward 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5.
Yes.
Carries 5-0. Ms. Fortner?
The next item is a purchase and sale contract for property located at 2104 12th Avenue West. This was also listed by the Urban Group for $230,000. As a result of that listing, the city received 10 offers on the subject property. We are bringing this offer to you today for consideration as we believe the purchase price of $288,000, which was $58,000 over the listing price, and $8,000 over the appraised value, is a desirable offer. The other offers on the property were lower, and many involved also that due diligence and inspection periods that would extend time to closing and our obligations. We believe that this offer will result in a fair price for this lot and result in an expedient and efficient closing, And again, the buyer will be responsible for all closing costs. Conveyance will be by special warranty deed, as required by our policy.
And this money will go back to?
Yep, this money will go back to the water sewer fund because that's where the money came from when we acquired the property through inverse condemnation.
And when we had this come up before us, when we put this out, we got a bunch of lowball offers and we decided not to take any of them and send it back. So working with this group has been very beneficial.
Oh, absolutely.
Just to
And
remind
we've
you.
only been working with them for a very brief
Right.
time.
Right, so, all right, so any questions? Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Barnaby.
motion to approve the purchase and sale contract for the property located at 2104 12th Avenue West, and authorize the mayor to execute the closing documents to make the sale happen.
Second.
Second by Ms. Coker. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll start the vote in Ward 2,
Yes.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5,
Yes.
1.
Yes.
Carries 5-0. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Fortner. Mr. Perry?
Item 10C, Mayor, which is a presentation of the emergency procurement report. There's one item on the emergency procurement report, and of course, I'm required to basically authorize repair of emergencies and then present to the next the city council meeting. This was really a serious problem out on a 20-inch force main line, so it's sanitary sewer, right out in front of Blake Hospital on 59th Street that occurred on the 18th of December. I had the privilege of going out there early on with my friends that are in the front row over there, as well as yourself that came along later and
Yes,
looked
sir.
at this break. It was a very nasty situation. It's a major force main where it's serviced by about 5 different lift stations, including a lift station from the hospital itself. We had a contractor that was actually doing a lining job on that force main, but after we did the cut and separation of the pipe, the piece of pipe that was involved, what we found was, I think it was cast iron, but it looked like it may have been, according to Mr. Ferentz, an airlock type problem that occurred, because you have this fairly large, very large 20-inch force main, and then it was corroded and deteriorated. And so the structural composition, it's like, how did that happen? And Mr. Ferentz has worked a lot with these kinds of things, assumed that it was probably because of an airlock. It probably wasn't because of the lining. That wouldn't have really had anything to do with it. That particular segment of lining went from 17th Avenue to 21st Avenue, and that's about 750 feet. They were out there again doing the repair. The repair itself is $23,000. Woodruff and Sons did a great job of coming out immediately and providing assistance and doing the repair on that line. And I think we completed it around 10 p.m. And we were down service. We did have bypass in place for the line as well, because they already had put in the line stops. But it was a big project. And when I look at the price of that repair of $23,000, I would have thought it'd be significantly more. There was a lot of heavy equipment, a lot of folks out there from Woodruff, and as well as our people and the like. So that's the nature of this one.
Yep, no, it was definitely, I got there basically after buttoning things up around 8:30 or so at night. And again, it's good to have, we heard about Woodruff doing a lot of things with the fair. Woodruff and Son being a local contractor is probably one of the best in this area, if not the best in the state and in Michigan. They do so many things, and they're right on the spot for us, so that's good having those connections and working forward. So obviously, this is just a notice, don't need to vote on it or anything, and just to do that. So moving to 10D, unless anybody has any questions? No, okay, 10D, thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. I want to address 10D just briefly to give you a little bit of insight into what this project is, and it kind of goes along those categories that I was referring to before, as it relates to the Face It and Fix It campaign. And 10D deals with the Lift Station 3 project that we have over on the east side into Ward 4, ultimately taking Lift Station 13 offline. What it is basically is a contract for Jacobs Engineering to do two things. The first is design the lift station rebuild. We have an existing lift station 3, but it's going to basically be taking a number of different homes and residences into that area and processing it directly to lift station 3, and not using lift station 13 that's on the water in the river and is compromised, and everyone's heard the horror shows about that particular part of the source shed. And so this allows Jacobs to do a number of different things within their contract. The contract is listed basically within the information, and if you want specifics on that, you can view it. Really what it is going to be design, project management of the design, and ultimately about, I think it's 1,400 linear feet of force main. It'll be mostly a gravity system that collects from about 180 homes that are down in that source shed, and then it'll feed a force main along 2nd Avenue from 22nd Street all the way east over to where the lift station 3 is. And so what they have to do is design it, do the project management and coordination with the CMAR, the construction manager at risk, in order to kind of do those two major parts of it. The funding source is DEP. We received $2.7 million, I believe, in the grant, and we need to spend it within a certain period of time, so we're trying to accelerate it. The deliverable in this case, I believe, is January, 90% design by the end of January, and Ms. Clayback's here if she needs to correct any of this. I'm going off their response to the project that they put in, the project description and everything. It's a direct purchase from them, and that's really what this is. I don't I think I do need approval for it for the work assignment.
Make that
Yep.
motion.
Mrs. Moore?
I will happily make a motion to approve the work assignment for professional engineering services for lift station 3 expansion.
Second?
All right. I think this is important to say that, as I've mentioned many times with Mrs. Moore, government works so slowly, but that's not our government. You know, we're finally getting to the point where you're gonna start seeing shovels in the ground, which actually, I saw a video yesterday of shovels in the ground for getting 13 temporary station. And I want the residents that may not have a lot of faith because of the years, that things are happening and they're starting to move very fast now. I mean, again, fast isn't gonna be tomorrow, but it's gonna be over the time. And it's important to realize this government, with the board, council, my office, as far as our administration, all the way through all the departments, is shown that the Face It and Fix It is a priority, not only for the whole city, but for neighborhoods. And we don't want 12-year-olds having to live with things forever that aren't supposed to be there. And hopefully by the time they graduate, it'll be gone. Or graduate middle school. So, but anyway, we have a motion to approve in a second. Start the vote in Ward 3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5,
Yes.
1,
Yes.
2.
Yes.
All right, approved. Mr. Perry?
Nothing further.
All right, I do have one thing that I want to bring up administratively, just as an informational thing. For Rossi Park. We can pass a few down that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's more of informational because we have such a great CRA board that they approved some money to improve Rossi Park. And basically go to page 3. Just to give you, and Bill Ackles, is he still in the room? I don't know. Oh, there he is back there. Has done a great job with Ross Peterson, is to add, and they could have got a better picture maybe. They can't, Google Earth doesn't have our new turf. I just didn't think about that. It's still that far behind. But you look at, one of the things that we're trying to do is add some shade in areas that might be beneficial to Rossi Park. And you see that shade number 2 transects over the splash pad seating area for parents, which also half of it is over the grassy area and then half's over the benches. And we have wordsmithed it very well to get the maximum shade out of it and be well under budget of what you guys have given for the CRA. And then you look at the shade that's there. So if you go to page 4, that shows you the shade for number 1 that will actually be on the grassy area with the concrete in front of the structure. So this will maximize the most amount of shade, especially music in the park when they're sitting there, because the sun's starting to go down. They'll be able to sit and look at the stage, the permanent stage there, and have shade, and it won't block any view of it from anywhere in the park. The shade company, as well as Mr. Ackles, has done a great job. Then you can see the size of shade 2 on the next page that really transects, and it really works well. I asked Mr. Ackles if he could put, there's 2 shades on each one. I said maybe stick with the city colors and maybe do 1 orange and 1 blue, but he wouldn't do it. So.
That's unfortunate.
So he left them all blue, but it's just more of an informational to say thank you to the CRA. Unfortunately, to timing it's going to take, we won't be able to start till May 1st and be done by sometime in June, because we don't want to mess with the regatta, we don't want to mess with BAM. We will work with Realize Bradenton on the music in the park, because it does affect a couple of those dates. But we figured May 1st, the shade company will definitely be able to work with our planning department to get the permit before May 1st. Plenty of time. So, any thoughts, questions, other than thank you to the CRA board?
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, perfect. All right, moving on, Mr. Perry, Ms. Melton, any unfinished business?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right, we're going to start council reports in 2, but I'm going to say something first that we try to get through something, but I just want to commend Councilwoman Coker, and obviously she lost her husband a little while back, and the emotion of it is there, but for her, but she did such a great job taking care of her husband for almost 15 years. And, over the Christmas break, unfortunately, he lost his battle. But she is such a great caretaker, spouse, and all of that. So just commend her and thank her for doing what she did as a person. So thank you. Ms. Barnaby.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I say that because I think I have the reputation of being sometimes a little strong, a little tough, but I think I'm more kind of like a soft-boiled egg. There may be a shell on the outside, but I'm really kind of soft and gooey. And I'm going to get through this too. The example that was set by our now vice mayor was truly outstanding. And I'm proud to know you, and I'm proud to call you a friend. And now I'm supposed to give a council report. So we've talked about the fair today. I did have the honor and privilege of being one of the culinary judges with the items that were brought in by the community. We did this past Saturday, and Debbie Crow of Shake Pit, again, one of those businesses in the community that goes out and you'll never really know all the stuff that lady does. She helps so many people. She helps so many kids. She helps so many schools, and she was out there doing the culinary judging with us, and she also was judging the hay bales. They have a hay bale decorating contest. So when you come to the fair on your free day, make sure you go by and check out all of the 4-H and different clubs that have done the hay bale decorations, saluting America's 250th birthday this year. And only one other thing, and that is many of us, when we are not in the office, have our office phones sent to our city cell phones. And over the holidays, it was really interesting to me. I don't know if I got that many spam calls or I had that many hangups, but I would have that, I could see that I had like 10, 15 phone calls and no messages. So if you're trying to get in touch with one of us and it does the regular 4 rings to our phone, then if we're not in the office, it's going to transfer to a city cell phone. And you need to let it ring through to that, and you'll get a greeting saying this is who you've reached. If you don't leave a message, I don't know if it's a spam call, I don't know if it's a misdial, I don't know what it is. And I usually don't return missed calls because I think it's a mistake. So again, if you are wanting to get with us, make sure you let it go all the way through. I know most people think, you let it ring once or twice and we should pick up the phone. Well, that might not happen sometimes, so let it ring until you get a message, and I personally would really appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Barnaby. Mr. Schuessler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to discuss and have a discussion about the Bradenton area EDC. At the start of the new year, I find it very helpful to review old agendas and old minutes and even previous council meetings from a year ago to take stock of what we've accomplished and what remains unfinished business. This whole thing kind of reminds me of my old shop teacher, Mr. Joe Mayron. At the beginning of every wood project that we had, he would always ask, what's the plan? Where are the plans? So in reviewing the city's relationship with the EDC, I do have some questions. Mainly, the 7 members of the EDC's executive committee, only 1 represents a business based in the city of Bradenton. The other 6 businesses are based in Sarasota. And while I couldn't verify all the residences of the executive committee, it appears a majority also live outside of Bradenton. Now, yes, there are directors beneath that, but of the 7, again, only 1 has a business in Bradenton. At the same time, the city of Bradenton is now the largest public financial contributor to the EDC. I know that the contract, I believe, just expired last week, but it raises a fair and reasonable question. Are we being adequately represented? There's also a leadership transition underway with Sharon Hillstrom's resignation effective December 31st. The board has stated that it will conduct a succession process, possibly a national search, which again raises important questions about local knowledge, alignment, understanding of Bradenton's unique opportunities, and also at the same time our challenges. So to revisit last year's city council meeting on January 8th, 2025, comments made during that meeting, there were concerns raised about contract clarity, expenses, administrative fees, deliverables, and accountability. 1 year later, I think it's reasonable to ask, where are we and what are the deliverables? As Councilwoman Gonzalez-Moore said last year, to paraphrase, economic development means different things to different people. That's why alignment matters. And as the mayor also said last year, we need to marry the EDC's ideas with the city's priorities. We're no doubt in a different place today than we were a year ago. Hundreds of more residents, and this was mentioned last year, but now we see the further plans and what's occurred in the last year. Hundreds more residents will soon be living downtown. If we want to retain them, support local businesses, and create live, work, and recreation spaces, we need clarity, urgency, and a plan. I support economic development, but with public funding comes public accountability. And as we're once again at the end of that contract, I think it's appropriate for council to understand the return on investment, the outcomes specific to Bradenton, and how transparency and governance are being handled. So I'll close by going back to my shop teacher, Mr. Mayron, who always started, what is the plan?
Yep, no, I think that's a great question. It's a great lead-in to how the EDC transitions, and I don't believe there's a meeting tomorrow afternoon with the new executive board. Some of them, one of them has a business in downtown, maybe 2 now. there's a new banker that's in town. I don't know, do you have the board that is set today? Or was that last
No,
year's?
I do not. I have
There's a
last
new
year's.
executive board. Obviously, we're not only the biggest public contributor, we're the largest contributor to the whole thing right now. And that's
Got
been
it.
something we've been working very aggressively. As Mr. Perry said a long time ago, in Albuquerque, they started their own EDC at several $1 million to do it. And so that's why we were giving them a chance. I think we need to probably see how this new executive board transitions over the, because again, we have the contract through the year till September 30th.
Right.
So they know my thoughts and what I said this board's gonna ask for to say, what is the deliverables? What have we got? What's reason for us to renew? You know, and one of the biggest things right now we're in is they're handling the Dover coal situation, which hopefully by the end of this month, first of next month, we'll have some deliverables from Dover coal. My goal with the Dover coal thing, and then we can all take it for what it is coming up with an actionable plan. Because right now, I haven't seen that as much, which until it comes out publicly, it's not really a plan.
Right.
And if we come up, one of the biggest things that I've said to Dover Coal in the meetings we've had through the EDC is, how is certain businesses on East Manatee gonna pay their mortgage tomorrow? Not what's it look like in 50 years? Because if it doesn't look good today, 50 years from now means nothing to nobody. And I feel that if we don't put something actionable on the table right away with Dover Coal for each of your wards, then it's, you failed, I failed, and we've all failed. And, but, so I would expect something coming back probably within the week to then get it going forward with a workshop. And as soon as we get it, I'll schedule a workshop tomorrow if people can make it. That's important to me. But I know that some of the things that we've got in the past, we've read, and we've put on the shelf because there was nothing actionable. Some of the things that are happening in the city that we've already made actionable, City Park, you know, it may play into what Dover Coal is saying, but it's still, we were gonna do it no matter what. So how is a business in Old Manatee gonna pay their mortgage tomorrow? Because that's what they're looking for, and I think some of them are on life support right now. Putting 12 trees and a couple of parking places doesn't do that. It makes it look nice, but it doesn't do that. So, I hope that, you know, there's a little bit of trust from my standpoint now to you, saying, give it, but we are very much engaged with almost everything you said with this new board, because it's a new, same, you know, teams have moved up and some have moved off, but great questions, and I'm glad you asked it. So,
Are we allowed to weigh in?
yeah, you can, it's his time, so.
Do you mind if
Oh, no, yeah, please
I
do.
just,
Thank you.
I wanted to kind of reiterate it and make sure that it is getting out there loud and clear. I was absolutely appalled that it's all Sarasota people that are on that board. And this is not to slight Sarasota whatsoever, but I grew up in Sarasota. I know that there is a bias,
Right.
and I'm very concerned about the length of time to replace the director I mean, honestly, I can't see them having someone in place until when you're talking about August, I mean, in the plan
Yeah, I
that
don't
they
think it'll
talked
be that
about.
long, but.
I'm very concerned.
Yeah, I'm confident it won't be that long, but one of the things that I think is important that you say is, how do we, what is our matrix that we get out of it? And that's where it has to be. But when you go to the executive board, obviously, is who steps up and volunteers. So there hasn't been, I guess, a lot of people in Manatee County volunteering, but the businesses are Manatee and Sarasota County, not to defend it, because I agree with you, you know me. But the other thing is, when you sit in the boardroom with the total board,
Right.
there's a lot of Manatee County people, you know, you have to look at the whole board of what's the decision. But it also comes down to it's based in Manatee County. So, you know, their offices and that. So we have to get that. But again, the businesses are both counties. So, but I agree that,
A lot of the names I didn't even know,
yeah, I agree with that.
to be honest.
But that's questions we're asking, and I think,
Yeah.
you know, our contact was Sharon Hillstrom, and now they gotta fast track it. So I think, I'm glad we're saying this, so I'm gonna tell them to go watch this, in YouTube and whatever, we'll find out what minute it is, so we can maybe even send this portion to them as quick as possible.
Yeah.
So their executive board knows how serious we are.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the fast tracking, and just concerned if the thought process from them is they're gonna do a national search. What do they know about our city and our county and the Bradenton
Well,
area?
that would be the questions,
Yeah.
and I spent more time over the last month talking to their executive board than I spent talking to anybody on the council, or on that board in 3 years. So they know, because we're their biggest customer right now, and how are they gonna make us feel good?
Yep.
And get us results.
I mean, the fact that I don't know if, I'm not speaking for anybody else, but not knowing one of them and we're their biggest customer.
Executive board, the overall board is.
Shouldn't they be more in the community and
Well,
involved?
Andy Guz is one of them, right now. Mike Michella, Andy's the hospital guy here. Mike Michella has gotten the new Seacoast Bank. He's been in Manatee County, Bradenton all along. Devaney from Florida Power and Light is now on their board. I just went blank. Chris C., who's the chairman, is Kimley Horn, which we do a lot with Kimley Horn, so, and the city does, in a lot of projects. And I can't think who else is on it right now. Our housing guy,
Mark Venner?
Mark Venegroff is on it. So when you start to count, we actually have more of the executive board that know Manatee County. Was set January 1st. That's the new board. So believe me, they all know where we are and how I feel. I'm glad that others feel that way, because we can't talk about it outside of a public meeting. So, yes, ma'am.
I'm excited that you brought it up, because I think it is very worthy of a conversation. My thought, just to share, my thought is that we have bought the Dover Coal project already, so I would like to see that, I would like to see the outcome of that. And all of my comments a year ago still stand. Another thing that I don't know that I mentioned last year, but now that we're a year later into it, and there's this transition, I think that better communication might also be something I would raise, that I would want them to know going forward as they do their transition. I would like to see a little bit more of that. And I think that communication element speaks to the concerns about maybe the people that are doing the search don't know us as well. Because I do think that that there's a role here for us to convey what it is that we want to see. We want those actual items, but I think we need to be telling them what it is that the end game thing that we want, so that they can develop those actionable items. And with many things, I think that there's always a risk that we are being lumped into a region, that we are, that the considerations are, well, this is what we think about for Manatee County. This is what we think about for Sarasota, Manatee County area. And I think we're very unique. I think we have a lot of very specific considerations and needs as we, I think collectively, which I think is great, try to encourage economic redevelopment. And I call it redevelopment because I think that we are, we've been around a long time, but we've had our ups and downs, and I think we're in a moment where all of us up here are trying to make it go this way, not this way or this way. And to that, in that vein, I'm hoping that as we round out this Dover Coal process, that we also, this was gonna be part of my word comments, but I'll just lump it in with the EDC because I think it's relevant. And it is, how do we encourage those mom and pops? How do we kind of reach them? Because I'm super excited about City Park. Dr. Burton and I just had a conversation about some things that the CRA is working on that I think are very relevant and beneficial, as an adjacent, as a complement to the city park and the surrounding areas. And so I think that we're doing a lot of really big transformative things, and I know that there's other areas of the city that are kind of teed up to also have a similar experience. But I also just recently have been hearing from a couple of, like 2 or 3, just little business owners that, and completely random circumstance that they would express this to me, that they'd struggled to either open their business or get a permit or do whatever the thing is. And I think that we want that, I want to be the friendly city for the mom and pops too, not just the huge transformative ones, Because I think it's a little bit like a domino effect, you know, the more that those little ones kind of get up and running, I think other little ones are encouraged, like they did it, I can do it too. So I would like us to, I'm hoping that some of the actionable items are not just identifying areas that are good, larger product, or larger project areas, and like seeing what we could do with that, but also maybe talking to planning and figuring out how can we make things a little bit easier for people that don't have.
Well, that's the fast
huge
track
staff.
permitting,
Yeah,
that's the stuff that gets them
exactly,
through
yeah, like
it, walks
things
them
like
through, and
that.
those are the things that were talked about early on
Mhm.
that we've got to make sure it processes through.
Yeah.
I believe that everything that was said today is something I've spent hours on the phone over the last month saying, how are you going to prove that it's worth it? And this was we did a 3-year contract. We can only do 1 year at a time and approve it each year, but we had given them 3 years. And now with the administrative change, I think you're gonna see a huge difference with what they're telling me, what the board is driving. And so there's opportunity there.
Great.
Good. Mr. Schuessler?
That is all for me. Thank you,
No,
Mr.
that is
Mayor.
perfect. So, all right, Ms. Moore.
Let's see if there was anything else. Oh, about the city cells that Ms. Barnaby just raised, I wonder if there's a way for us to not only get the calls pushed, but the voicemails as well. Because sometimes I am unable to check the physical voicemail here for a handful of days at a time, and I hate to not be super responsive. So that's an IT question. I'll just.
Does it go to your cell phone?
I don't think that a voicemail that someone leaves if they call the landline here does not show up on the cell.
If it's transferred, it does.
If it's
So
transferred
let-
to your phone, yes.
Yeah, let me do my best to take a stab at it. And
Okay,
Karen,
so
I
maybe it sounds
apologize
like
if
a
I
Lisa
mess this
thing.
up, but, so when you forward your office phone to your cell phone, they're not gonna leave a message on your office phone. It'll go to your cell phone, they'll leave a message there. If the forward's not there, you can always call into your office phone, and there's a procedure to access that voicemail.
Okay.
And we can go through that with you, just so you
Yeah,
have
that would be
access to it.
wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Yep, you're
Okay,
welcome.
so that was just me. And then the only other thing, oh, you know what, I was just gonna, two things, if I may, just real quick. I was kind of piggybacking the fair presentation with the Back to Angola Festival that was on consent. Because both of them highlight to me, just like, you know, when I get to, you know, kind of pondering things about Bradenton and what we love about it, our history is so diverse and multifaceted and rich. And so I love that we do these celebrations. I love that people come and present. And I wondered I know that Ms. Melton and I talked maybe like 2 years ago about becoming a sister city, and I know that there was an expense that was associated with it. But I wondered if maybe that was something that we would be interested in.
The Red Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Daphne and that, we've talked about it, and it's
Okay.
up to them now
Oh, okay.
to do what
To do
they've
the
got to
thing.
do, right? So
Gotcha. Okay.
that's supposed to be, again, and I think the hurricanes hit, and
Right.
everything's been different.
And I know they're
ever
struggling too,
since, so,
yeah. Okay, yes, there was that, and then the final thing also, and I don't want to make everybody cry again, but I do appreciate your comments about Vice Mayor Coker, and I would just like to express my, how much I enjoy serving with you all and getting to know everyone. And I actually really love that we don't always agree on everything, but that we feel confident that we can have, you know, so I just said to someone yesterday at the Kiwanis lunch, sometimes the only way to kind of get through something that's difficult is to have those difficult conversations. And I personally appreciate that we can get up here, walk through the difficult conversations, and then leave the dais in City Hall and know that when my house floods, you know, Council or Vice Mayor Coker is gonna bring me a meal and everyone's gonna check on me. So I just thought, on the heels of you saying that I appreciate you all, and that I continue to hold the Coker family in my prayers.
Thank you. Mrs. Coachman.
Whew. I appreciate every comment that has been made during our council corners or council comments. I really do appreciate everything. You recognizing that we have lost someone close, of someone close to us, we've lost. She's lost, it's very close, and he had become close to us too. Kemp, I'm just gonna say that because I'll get the vowel
Yep.
wrong. I always do
Perfectly
that.
okay.
I go short when it's long, I go
We'll
long
practice
when it's
later.
short. Yeah, we'll practice, you know. I'm not a speech pathologist, you know.
Yeah, really.
But you bringing that up, that's been something, again, this is when we can talk about it. We all don't know what we're all thinking because we don't get to talk outside of this. And I appreciate you bringing that up also, because that has been something on my mind as well. And not to quote Janet Jackson in any way, but what have you done for me lately does kind of come up to my mind. But then I'm gonna just sum this up. I feel the concerns that we have faced in 2024 and 2025, I feel that in 2026, they're going to be confirmed and resolved. I really do. I have faith that the wonderful staff and us kind of putting our heads together too, we're gonna make some differences, I think. So.
Thank you. Ms. Coker.
Okay. Thank you all. 37 years ago when I was making promises, I didn't know what was ahead. None of us ever do. And the long goodbye was filled with a lot of challenges. And but there were a lot of great things. And I just want to say that I wouldn't trade any of it. You know, I have 2 beautiful children, and we had a wonderful life and wonderful friends. And that's, if you can go to Janet Jackson, I'm going to go to Garth. Garth Brooks said I wouldn't have missed the pain because I'd have to miss the dance. And it was a lovely dance. And I want to thank all of you and everyone that's had the outpouring of love and kindness and support during this difficult year. Your messages and your prayers were comforting words, have meant more than I can express, and have carried us through some dark times. I'm very deeply grateful. Now, I also want to say it's a new year, 2026. I'm vice mayor. I didn't know I was going to be that I'm adding now, but it's also, I think we need to proudly mark the beginning of the 250th anniversary of our nation and honor the vision and courage that our founding fathers gave us and renew that commitment to enduring the promises of liberty. So it's a new year. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Cochran. Thank you, everybody. And I think on my list was the EDC to discuss that it's so important that we have something that is driving us in that direction. Now, we took some steps 3 years ago, and I don't know that we've taken the biggest step that we need to, but I think the biggest step is ahead of us with this Dover Coal and presentation going to be coming out very soon, and the EDC helped go through that. And it's always been important to me, and I'm glad that you're able to express it in this way, because we're not expressing it to throw them to the curb right now, but we're expressing it to say, what are we going to do next? What are you going to make us say, wow? And that's up to that board, and that a lot of us serve on volunteer boards, and you're on the board. But what makes a board, especially an executive team, strive is when something like this happens. And I've been on a few of them over the years. The 90s with Florida Funeral Directors, some other things where we've had to change some executive directors at time. But it's how you come out of it and what then you give to your clients. So I'm always glasses half full. How are we going to make them show us why we need them, not that they need us, and that's important to know. So thank you for bringing that up. Obviously, through the Christmas season, great markets, great things that happen. Getting to the new year, it's our first meeting of the new year. We do a different schedule than sometimes other governments do, and so we're kind of the second Wednesday, I'm sorry. So, my biggest thing is Happy New Year to everybody, but as Ms. Coker just said, it's a new year. And how do we go forward with that? And whether it's your personal life or professional life, we're all going to be here to work together and make it better. I know from a standpoint up here that every person up here cares about what they do day by day, whether it's your city job, your personal job, or it is your job, from Mr. Perry all the way down, and you care about the city. So thank you for that. We're gonna keep moving forward, and we're gonna face it and fix it. And if there's any questions out there, go to our Face It and Fix It, and we're going to be facing it and fixing it in about 30, 40 minutes at the chamber with other mayors and CNRs, and I just want to say thank you to everybody for a great 25, but looking forward to a very busy, productive 26, where people will actually see things probably coming out of the ground now. I mean, obviously, we got our police department that will open up, we got our fire department open up at the end of the year, but, you know, the goal now is to get the police department in there and then be ready for city center area to come and city hall. We've had that discussion. More information will come probably by the end of this month. But we're gonna start having probably some meetings and special meetings at times because we need to keep the process moving and getting those decisions finalized and made. So, department heads, anybody? Chief Gear?
I have one thing, actually a couple things, and I'd be amiss if I didn't recognize Chief Dan Anderson and Southern Manatee Fire Rescue for the loss of Justin Markey. He was a 43-year-old firefighter, and that was unexpected. We had his service this week. So all these folks live here in the city and have family members here in the city, and they border us to the south, and we run calls with them every day. So that was a great service, but sad and unexpected for the Markey family. Also, Northport Fire Rescue lost Victor Cleveland, a young firefighter with them. So our condolences go out to Chief Scott Titus and Nick Hurley and all the others that we know through the years, and they have friends and family in this area as well. So I didn't want to let this go without mentioning those firefighters that have lost their lives in service.
All right, thank you. Chief Kramer?
Briefly, tonight is the annual Crime Stoppers banquet. I'm honored to be able to go to that with Manager Val Knight and Lieutenant Rob Borden, who are on the part of Crime Stoppers. And tomorrow night, I'll be giving the benediction and the invocation at the law enforcement, the MTC Law Enforcement Academy graduation. We have 6 who are going to be graduating that, so we're quite proud of them. That's it.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Mr. Perry?
No, sir.
Mr. Williams, Mr. Rudisil? No? Anything from the CRA that has to get on today, Dr. Burton? All right, we'll be adjourned. Face it and fix it.